so it has existed. But I think what I think that peer review does, and that hasn't been touched upon, is that it develops critical thinking. So if you're an academic scientist, you're starting out in your career, this is such an important skill to learn. And it's not something that's taught to you at university. And I've spoken to a lot of early career scientists and researchers, and they're always a bit daunted. It's like, how am I going to review that first paper? What's the first step I take? And like Ziga said, there is no industry systematic way. We have tried in our own little way to put out guidelines. One of the things when we were looking across is that no publisher puts their, and this is no disrespect to anybody, no publisher puts their peer review form online. So nobody knows. And actually, we've done that. We've tried to make the peer review form available to anybody. So anybody can go in, look at our review guidelines, look at the form, so that even if you're starting out new, okay, that's the form I'm going to have to fill in. That's what I need to start thinking about. And I think while I completely agree with Ziga as well, that we remain a very traditional industry and I hope my publishing colleagues will forgive me for saying this, but I do think we're slightly 25 years behind in terms of technology uptake. Even when it comes, if you follow the trend, we have to be dragged in kicking and screaming. So Ziga has also mentioned some of the challenges that, we all know there's a tsunami of papers coming across all our journals. I hear it firsthand from my editors. I have emails coming in from my reviewers saying I've spent over 20 hours on this particular paper because it was a guideline and it had 900 pages. And I said, and I'm supposed to be an invisible reviewer. How do you justify that? And so I've got to find solutions. I do think it's a good start, Ziga, that companies like yourselves and others are coming up with solutions. I think we need it, but I think we need to develop these tools with the community, because what is important for us or my community to understand is what's the black box? What is the limitation of that tool? And the other thing, I caveat this because I have young teenage children, is over-reliance on a tool like this. It's really easy to kind of get sucked into using a tool, and I can produce a review report in 10 minutes. And I think as an industry as well, we need to be careful about this whole narrative around everything has to be fast, everything has to be quick. Why aren't we talking about it has to be good quality? And that has been the benchmark. So for my journals, quality is the most important thing. And I do accept with what you said earlier, Ziga, that yes, sometimes it takes a long time to take peer review. And I think I take full responsibility that as a publisher, we're not proactive in informing the authors and saying, hey, we're struggling to find reviewers. And I think there are things that we could be doing. There are things we can use in AI. We are going to have to train our editors. I think we can't just use a tool and this thing it. You've got to look at where the tool can be applied, where the tool will be used in the workflow, how much time is going to be spent actually going through those reports to see whether, what it's pulled out is false positive. And we're trialing that right now. I've got a small team of 5 people. How many people am I going to have to pull out of business as usual to do this? So I think those are some of the factors. Then there is the case of biases, and I'll talk about more.